I'm Jay Beershank. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we're here for another edition of book reviews. You're joining me on Andaman Islands in India. A really beautiful place, I have to say. I've been to a lot of tropical islands around the world, and I have to say this one is one of the most chill, least touristic, least industrialized, that's not the right word, least manufactured, I don't know what the right word is. Anyway, it's really nice here. We've been doing some scuba diving, but that's not what we're here to talk about. We're here to do a book review. Hopefully you can enjoy the view while we do it. The book we're going to review today is Kafka on the Shore, ironically enough, by Murakami, first name Haruki. I've reviewed one more book on this channel by Haruki Murakami, Sputnik Sweetheart. It's also a good one, but this one, Kafka on the Shore, is probably one of his most famous. Next to, I think there's one called Norwegian Wood. That might also be a Beatles song, but Norwegian something. Anyway, for me, the first one that I read by him, Sputnik Sweetheart, it really showed me why and how he could have a cult following. And I think this one really honed it in for me and really solidified my understanding of why some people could go crazy for this author and why he deserves it. He has the most kind of unique, creative writing style that maybe I've come across in a lot of different authors. And what makes it so special, I think, is that it's contemporary. It's really unique, but the way in which he's writing is also from the perspective of modern characters. You know, I've reviewed a lot of older, 100, 200-year-old books on this channel, and when we talk about Dostoevsky, for example, the kind of people and the kind of lives that his characters are so much different than what modern man is going through that you can relate to them on kind of a meta-conscious way, because it's like, these fundamental human experiences. But with Murakami, he does this in a way in which the characters are so relatable that you can almost get a little bit more out of the book, I think. Well, not more, but you can enjoy it in a completely different way, and I can understand why there are so many people now in this day and age that, idolize him so much. And so, anyway, this book also has a beautiful cooperating narrative. There's many different narratives, and then they all come together. And it's just really beautiful to read because each of those narratives is from a perspective that you can relate to. But in the way that you can relate to it, it's also really interesting because I think Murakami's special creative writing style is so enchanting and enduring. Got a little wet there. Enchanting and enduring because it's so poetic and it's so cryptic. When you're reading it, you don't know if you're understanding even what you're reading because it could be so interpretable, it's so metaphorical and so beautiful that it almost feels like a sin to try to contextualize it into a way that you can actually understand it. It's almost like a taste, like you have to just taste it and enjoy it, and in the moment that you try to critique it and turn it into something that you believe it is, it almost loses its true essence. When we talk about tasting, I think about umami. Many people talk about umami flavor as something that is one of the best flavors, but it's also one of the hardest to describe. I would think of his writing a lot like this. It's a very umami type of writing where it's universally enjoyed, but everybody might describe it in a different way. And when I start to try to think about how I can describe to you what that writing style is, I think it's surrealist. It's maybe a bit even like satirical, realistic, postmodern, something like this. I think the way in which he incorporates this satirical kind of critique on the way that we live, but also this beautiful acceptance and appreciation that even though we live in these kind of nearly idiotic ways that are ruining ourselves, we're still here now living it, and the fact that we're in our human bodies having this human experience makes this idiotic lifestyle and this idiotic process that we go through to try to define or refine or position ourselves, all these things, how absurd they can seem, it's justified and it's given dignity by the fact that it's done by conscious humans that have some kind of spark of the divine in them. So I guess that's what really hones it in for me. And I would just say that if you want to get an understanding of the kind of writing style that he has, check this book out because the stuff that he's writing about is also so ridiculous. You know, there's a guy who's talking to cats, and there's all this like teenage sexuality stuff, and it's really like obtuse, absurd writing. But it's almost like that is what modern life is in so many ways, that when you're reading it, it's ridiculous, but he writes it in a way that, you know, you have to then relate and resonate with it because it is actually what's going on. And anyway, I think that that's really beautiful. I'm not saying there's actually talking cats, but I'm just saying like this absurdity of kind of like fantasy and reality and potential. I'm getting soaking wet out here. Anyway, I'm not sure if I did it justice. I feel like I'm talking really lucidly, but hopefully I gave you some kind of a corral to be able to pen in the bowls that are the different ways of thinking about Haruki Murakami and Kafka on the Shore. I would give this book an 8 out of 10 because I will be honest with you, towards the end of it I felt a little bit bored and I was wondering where's it going, because also I was just so confused about what is the point, what is he even writing about, that I kind of was just ready to get out of that world, because the book's about 500 pages. It's not so hard to read. I mean, I enjoyed it, but towards the end you're kind of like, okay, you realize maybe this book is not going to come to a point, maybe I'm not going to understand it, and maybe it's not going to come to any kind of resolution. And it didn't, but that's okay. But I noticed myself being a bit bored, so I'll give it 8 out of 10. But for anybody who's interested in the author, and anybody that wants to explore a really surrealist, beautiful contemporary author, definitely check out Haruki Murakami, and this book is a great place to start. He has many other books that I'm interested to read because I think that he can give it a beautiful perspective on specific topics. There's this one book he wrote, I forgot the name of it, it's about loneliness from the perspective of 3 different men. I feel like he could really give a beautiful perspective on this, so I want to check out more for him. I want to check out more by him for sure. Ooh, a lot of talking. That's my review. I hope you enjoyed it. See you later from India. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you for Vera for filming this for me. Peace. They sound like, oh.